there. Welcome to HobbyKing Product Profile. I'm Robert, your host, and today we're going to show a new plane from Michael Wargo. This is the new Edge 540T EP, and again, designed in collaboration with Michael Wargo. If you don't know who Michael is, you should look him up on YouTube, and you'll find that he's a world-class 3D pilot and aircraft designer, and over the years we've collaborated with him on a number of different planes, and this is the latest one. So we're just going to unbox, put together, assemble, and then fly. I'm going to recruit my old colleague Alex Davis to help me fly, because he's a much better 3D pilot than I am, and he's going to put it through its paces and show you what it can do. But in the meantime, I'm going to, like I said, unbox it and assemble it and see what we got. So here we go. Very well packed. Happy to see that. Got a lot of protective stuff happening here. Alright, so this looks like a main wing to me. A wing with ailerons. This looks like the fuselage. Okay. Here's a cowl and what looks like a throw gauge? Oh, cool. Yeah. Let's take a look at that. So, yes, okay, so wheel pants. That's cute. A cowl. Unfortunately, mine is cracked. Okay, this is obviously very thin plastic. If this were to happen to you, reach out to support immediately, and we'll get this replaced for you. Okay? Knowing me, I'm just going to fix it. Alright, so yeah, this does look like a throw gauge. How cool is that? Check that out. Okay, we have a wire. Let me get my knife here. Okay, we have a wire landing gear. And we've got a bag of accessories here, which has spinner, couple of wheels, some control horns, little other doodads, some Velcro, zip ties, screws, obviously, things of that nature. So, all the hardware you're gonna need. Alright, so is that it? That's it. That's everything in the box. One thing to note about getting these products earlier than you would, so I can do these videos and things like that, is I can identify possible issues with something. And again, my cowl came cracked, which is unfortunate. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to report that back to Stewart and the logistics team and tell them that we may need to look at how we pack this to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore. You know, accidents happen, things do break. These items are obviously really fragile. But again, if you get an item from HobbyKing and have any problem with it at all, reach out to us. Reach out to us in support. I handle the claims, so if you put in a claim, I'll see it, and we'll take care of it. You know, we do have excellent product support and customer service, and we've been working hard to make it even better. And so don't wait. Get in touch with us right away. So, okay, here we go. So this is a foam and balsa construction, which is kind of cool. Very I really like this. This is going to be a really good looking model when it's done. So yeah. So here's this Wargo 3D. Yeah. I watch a lot of Michael Wargo videos to try and pick his brain and learn from him. Again, he's a world-class 3D pilot, and I have learned a lot from just watching his videos. And one of these days, I hope to get down to Florida, where he's based, and meet him, introduce myself, and then really pick his brain. So, yeah. And I do the same thing when I fly with Alex Davis, my former colleague. Again, he's also a world-class pilot, 3D and otherwise, IMAC champion and all kinds of crazy stuff that he's done. So anytime I fly with him or I do a video with him or something like that, I'm like, so how'd you do that? And I get to learn from people like that, which is awesome. So, okay, we got some more stuff to unbag here. Okay. Horizontal stab, an elevator. So these are pre-hinged but not glued, so these do need to be glued in. Okay, they're probably glued in on the one side. Yeah, so they're glued in on the main side, and then you just need to glue them in on the surface side. So this will go like that. So there you go. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. This allows you to set the gap how you like it, and you know, otherwise just maintain control over your model. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, looks to be the same with the ailerons here. Yeah, so these are glued in, but you'll need to glue these into the wing. Sorry for my sniffly nose. I've got a little bit of a cold coming on, I think. So this is going to go in here like that, and this is going to go in here like that. So, okay, very, very cool. Very simple. And okay, so for motor and ESC, I was recommended to get the following, which is an SK3 3530 1160 kV motor. Okay, comes with everything I need, and I also just got a 60 amp ESC. That was we just had those around, so that's what I grabbed. It's overpowered for this model, but you know, I don't think I need more than 40 for sure. But that's what we had available at the moment, so that's what I got. Okay, and I believe it's a 11 by 5.5 prop. All right, so that'll go on there. And yeah, so what else? Let's see. Spinner, like I said, is a bag of hardware. So I'm going to get to gluing those surfaces first, and I'll see you on the other side of that. Sometimes when you're fitting these CA hinges, you'll find that the slot in the wing or the surface is a bit too thin or too narrow to get the slot in, so you got to widen them up a little bit, just make them a little bit bigger. That's what I'm doing here. The slots are pretty obvious to see, so it's easy to see where they are. They're just very very thin at the moment. So just get a blade in there and work it around, and you'll widen those enough to get the slots in, the hinges in, sorry. I must say I do like the way this balsa and foam construction looks and feels. It's got a really cool, nice, smooth surface. You know, it's I think the paint process to do this is called sublimation. Looks really great. So yeah, cool. Oh, need a couple of servos. So right there. So 2 servos. Okay, no big deal. Got plenty of those. 9-gram servos would be fine. Digital, analog, metal gear, plastic. It's probably all good. You know, for a 3D model, I would tend to go for the metal ones, but this is going to be a small and light model, so I think that, you know, the HXT 900s would be fine. If you do want a Metal Gear, the Metal Gear version of an HXT 900 is basically the Turnigi TGY 50090 servo. It's a 9-gram servo, but it's metal geared, and one of our most very popular servos. I use them in just about everything, and so that might be the way I'll go with this. Not really sure. We'll see what I have lying around in the shop here, and I need to make those even bigger. Okay, so there we go. It's a good dry fit. I haven't glued anything yet, but just a dry fit. So you want to check and make sure that everything looks like it still works all right, and yes, it does, of course. By the way, those of you with a keen eye will notice a small change to my studio here, the set. I have the other little crawler that we got, and I just put that up there just to kind of show it off a little bit. That's the companion to the Patriot, and I really dig it. We're calling that the Arizona, and they are fun little crawlers. 1/18 scale, and just like I said, a lot of fun. Okay, so the wing's done. Let's do the elevator. So this doesn't need to be reslotted. Apparently, this just goes right on. Let's just double check that one more time. Again, I'm really impressed with the quality of the finish on this plane. It looks really quite great. The smooth Depron type foam is just awesome. So okay, yeah, so that'll be fine. What else we got here? So we have a rudder. Some stripes. Wing fences, wingtip type things. Okay. So check that. Slots on here look really good. go. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, once you dry fit your components onto the wing, you're going to insert the wing into the fuselage. And this is a tight fit, so do it slowly, carefully, but it does go. Just work it in there a little bit at a time. Again, go slow. It's a tight, tight fit. There we go. Okay, get it centered. Okay. Making sure that this is centered down the middle and aligned properly so the wing isn't skewed anyway is very important. So just go through that very, very carefully. Use a ruler if you have to. And you're going to do the same thing with the rear horizontal stabilizer here. Okay, so you just dry fit it in there, make sure it gets good and straight, and then once you can confirm everything is good and it looks even, then you can glue it in. Okay, once you have this fit in there, you need to cut a slot here on the back of the tail to allow for the surface to mount. Okay, so this is going to go in there. And to do that, you need to, again, cut a slot. So I'm going to do that now. When you're working on dry fitting slots and CA hinges and things like that, if you're using a blade like this, always make sure that the sharp part of the blade is pointing that way. That way if I slip, I just hit myself with the dull spot of the blade. I don't hit myself with the sharp point. And there are tools for making slots, so if you were so inclined, you could actually get a tool specifically designed for that. But I just use a regular X-Acto knife, as you can see. When you're gluing in pieces that need to slide in from one side, what you can do is you can apply glue to the leading side, and then when you slide it in, it'll push that glue across the whole surface. That's usually how I do stuff like this, and then you just line it up, and that looks pretty good. And you know, even though this is CA, it does give you a few seconds to adjust if you need to. That is straight. The surface is actually printed with, you know, a line on it that indicates where the center is, so you can quite easily determine where things go. You can see that my hinges are swapped. I did that just to get different alignment. And while I'm waiting for glue to dry and things like that, I'm going to fit the landing gear. So I just pop the struts in. They just slide right in there. And the wheels, let's see how the wheels go. If you get your wheels and they're a little tight on the axles, just use a round file, get in there and just loosen those up a little bit. And then there's just little collet locks. Those go on there and just secure the wheels. Or maybe not. And like I've said before in previous videos, I like to use an old servo box to contain parts for different things. This way I can either, I can label the box and say this is, Edge 540 parts or something like that. I keep spare parts in these, and then my field kit has all these parts and stuff like that. So definitely a good thing to have. Alright, I'm at the point of servo installation. I'm going to use these MG-14W servos. And as always, before installing servos, I always check them. So I use my handy dandy servo tester. Okay, and that servo appears to be good. Groovy. Okay. Test fit. Actually, let me just do this like this. Yep, that'll fit. So I'm going to use what's called a pin vise to make the small holes here, and for the screws to mount the servo. So, I'll go get my pin vise and do that. So here's a pin vise. It's basically just a small hand drill, okay, drill bit. And so you just get the servo in there, and you can just kind of rough it in. Doesn't need to be perfect at the moment. And when it comes to servo installation, you have to make sure that you are in the right place. It would make sense to install it this way, because now the distance between the hub and the surface is too far, or further than it needs to be. So we are going to mount it like that, okay? So then I just use the pin vise and I just put a little hole. Just be careful not to press too hard, because you could easily go right through the wing. And so, use the drill bit as it's intended, and that means to make sure that you just keep twisting it, and that way you don't really have to use a whole lot of pressure. Okay, so there we go, 2 small holes. I should be able to mount the servo with no problem. Grab one of our little screwdrivers. And it's important to pre-make those holes, pre-drill those holes, because putting a screw this big into wood of this size and thickness would probably just crack it. Okay, and you'll find that in a lot of woodworking situations, it's always recommended to drill what they call pilot holes, which again is just holes designed to screw into. So there you go. All right, on to the other side. All right, here she is, just about finished. Well, in fact, she is finished. She's ready to fly. So the only thing left to do is to head to the field and meet up with my colleague Alex and do some flying. So gonna head that way in a moment. Before I do that, I will like to point out that I made a total goof. I was getting a little ahead of myself. I went a little too far, didn't reference the manual, duh. And I was incorrect in thinking that you had to cut back here to get the horizontal stabilizer in there. That's a common thing to need to do on a lot of ARFs, and so I just kind of think, well, that's what I got to do. And then when I got the manual and I checked it out, I realized that if you turn the horizontal stab upside down and turn it around, you can actually slide it into the slot that goes here, and then when you get it into the portion where it moves up and down, you can then spin it around and correct it. So my bad. Please check the directions. You know, it's funny because I always say that I almost always read the manual first. In this case, I didn't do it, and guess what? Bit me in the butt. I screwed up. So anyway, small little thing there. So don't do that. Don't do like I did. But anyway, I am really happy with the way this came out. I think this model looks fantastic. I am really excited to see it in the air and get some footage with Alex flying it, since he's an amazing pilot. But like I said, you know, here she is, looks great. I'm sure it's going to fly great. Everything that Michael Wargo has been associated with has flown very well. I don't expect this to be any different. So again, looking forward to it. I'll see you at the field. Take care. All right, so here we are, the field flight demonstration. I'm here with Alex Davis. He's a former HobbyKing employee. He's kind enough to come and help us out with this. So Alex, put her through her paces. So there's our wing. There it goes. Whoops.